Check.
Yep.
Pay check. Cool. So I have all of this money. I'm so happy. Wow, look at me with all this money that I got for my check. Amazing. I decide to take one money, and instead of it going to things like food or living, I give it to a homeless guy. No home, okay? So on my taxes, look at this tax shame. I get to say, hey, I made all this money. I made all this money. I made all this money. Oh, and I gave one money to the home guy. Okay, are you following me so far? I'm gonna have to adjust something. The thing in question is this. Shut up and listen. Stop.
All right, that brings your total to $5.75. Would you like to round up and donate $6 to the Children's Cancer Charity? Thank you. No. All right, so that's six. Wait, did you say no? Yeah. No, thank you. It's 25 cents. It's 25 cents that Target gets to donate. Target, the corporation. Target, the corporation who, when they make donations to charity, gets tax breaks from it. So essentially, I am paying to help a company dodge taxes. So no, I do not. Thank
you. Wow. Totally epic win. That's the subject that we're talking about tonight. And it looks like the debatee is already walking back his position as we speak. You love to see it. Oh, 7 months. 2 months more and we got a baby together. Thank you for that, sweetheart. So let's hash this out real quick.
Hash it out.
Fuck, it's so loud. Balance it out, boys. Okay. What's your contention? Actually, no, because I'm the one that said... No, wait, no. You're the one that said, I've been saying this for years. I'm glad somebody finally made it go viral. Or some shit like that, right? So what have you been saying for years?
Backstory. A few years ago, I used to go to Panda Express for lunch sometimes.
Okay.
It was down the street from my work.
Mm-hmm.
And they would always ask me, would you like to donate or would you like to round up, 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, whatever it is, and donate to Children's Hospital, something.
Okay.
I started to do it, and then after a while, I started to second guess everything.
Okay.
Not because I had... It's kind of a weird reasoning, mainly because I started thinking about like business practices and customer service practices, and I started feeling like all the people behind the counter were very unauthentic, and I thought, how high does that go within the company if these people are unauthentic? Like, where does it stop in the chain of management, right?
I see.
And I thought, oh my god, this like donation to charity is not authentic. It's not an authentic charitable contribution. It's probably just something that Panda Express donates on behalf of themselves, so they can look good and say, oh, we donated 50 million to charity, when in reality all we did was ask the community to donate pennies on the dollar and gather their contributions and make us look good for doing it.
So we have 2 points here. If it's inauthentic to the lower employees, if the driving force behind these donations doesn't seem genuine, then you are contending that the people up top must not give a shit either. There must not be some drive. So you're basically saying that if charity events are happening, then it should be a top-down enthusiasm thing. So, and what you're viewing is a very shitty bottom of the top-down hierarchy, right? Is that a good way to pose that? When I say hierarchy, I just mean like the boss of Panda Express in this example tells all the store managers, which tells the children working the counter. And so, go ahead.
Children.
Yeah, or, whoever, the people.
So it's not I wouldn't say it's an argument that I have, but just an observation.
I see.
And an observation that led me to the conclusion, I guess.
And the conclusion was...
Not conclusion, but speculation.
That...
Because again, this is all speculative. This isn't...
okay, and this takes to the second thing, and I don't mean to cut you off. The second thing is that they're only doing it for clout, and they don't give a shit about the donation that they're giving. That's what my understanding is. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm. Sure. No, sure. I think, yeah, sure. Why not?
So, if we have 2 people, one is a mute, has never spoken in his life, and he gives $5,000 to a homeless shelter. No expression. He's basically the emotional intelligence of a child, right? And then we have another person who gives $5, but is the biggest, like, what were they called on YouTube? Where they were something bros. Oh my God. They would just... 10? Like Team 10-esque, where they're just like, oh, hype beast. They hype beast the fuck out of their $5 donation, right? And it's the most enthusiastic donation you've ever seen in your entire goddamn life. Does the point that I'm trying to illustrate is there actually a difference between those two? So somebody who's super like, yeah, I believe in this cause, and they give money, and versus somebody who like shows no emotion whatsoever, but still contributes. And we can even remove like the dollar amount difference if it's the same. Does one actually make a tangible difference than the other? If the dollar amount that they give does that make a difference?
Well, I think the dollar amount doesn't make a difference, and nor does the authenticity. Not the dollar amount doesn't make a difference.
Right. Of course, if somebody gives more, that's viewed better for society. That's what you're saying. Then less. Let's remove that. Let's not make the mute give $1,000. Let's just say he gives $5, and then the hype beast gives $5.
Okay.
In the eyes of the homeless shelter, and the people affected by the homeless shelter, does it matter how much they believed in the donation itself?
Well, it's not the dollar amount. It's where the money comes from, I think.
Okay, so if I started a charity organization in the ghetto, right? And so I find a bunch of kids that don't really have a whole bunch to do because they're off school right now because of COVID, and I just say, hey, listen, I want you to stand on the corner of the street, and I want you to get $10 from me and bring it here. And then you won't get anything, but you get to say you donated to charity. How's that sound? And so then these kids get this money, and then I give the money to charity. Are you following me so far? I'm creating a example where I am saying that I donated money, even though technically it's not my own money. It's just me orchestrating money from elsewhere going to a charity. So do I get to fairly say that I donated to charity?
Fuck no.
Why not?
Because it didn't come out of your pocket. You didn't have any like.
So I didn't have a sacrifice that I made by giving to charity, is what you're saying? in order for charity to be well received, it has to impact the giver.
No, not necessarily giving, but taking credit for the amount donated.
If
Or
I
for the donation, taking
So-
credit for the donation.
So there's a couple levels to that analogy that I didn't realize were laid out there. So it's kind of weird that this is just working. But if I hadn't gone into this place where there's all these kids not doing anything, there would be no donation to charity, I would say, in the first place. So the absence of it would make up
That's
for.
not true.
Well, if it's a bunch of kids doing nothing, and it takes me to get them
I
out
guess-
there and do something.
I guess like let me bring a point
'Kay.
In a more straightforward way.
Okay.
If I wanted to donate to charity / had the means or whatever, and I wanted to make a charitable contribution,
Mm-hmm.
I would do it regardless if Panda Express asked me to donate 35 cents or
Okay.
not.
Point one.
I think that there are ways to bring awareness to charities,
Mm-hmm.
and asking people for donations and taking credit for a simple ask. I don't think is moral.
So what you are claiming is that having somebody else give to charity through your organization that you essentially create.
Through my donation.
Yeah. So I am company. Company says, or maybe they don't say. Maybe they say we want clout. Because I'm granting you that for the sake of discussion, even though I disagree that they're doing it just for clout. But company says we want to give back to the community. We have a wide reach. We think that we can pocket, or we can potentially do some good for the world.
Mm-hmm.
That will make us look good in the eyes of the world and increase our sales and whatnot.
Ooh, I thought about this too.
'Kay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So then
I know where you're going with this.
person gives to me because I generate this avenue for them,
Mhm.
and then we give that money to the people. So by me saying we donated our customers money, that is different than we donated money in your eyes. You're viewing those two things differently?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And what I would say is acceptable,
Uh-huh.
or what I would rather see, is Panda Express take percentage of profits or percentage of sales and donate those.
So like a matching program, that would be better?
Yes, because then that shows that they actually, they're giving some of their own, and they're also serving their own community by providing food or whatever.
So that
as
would
a
be
business.
interesting. What incentive would they have besides more clout or less clout? Because the understanding of the average person is that when a company says they give to charity, most people aren't. Well, actually, you're just taking money from everyone, and then you're giving that money, and you're not, because how it works out, and you know how it works in a business, you have like a revenue sheet, right? And so it all goes into the same bucket, and then it gets split up according to where stuff is supposed to go. So some of that money, goes to your supplies, some of it goes to wages, some of it goes to insurance, blah blah blah. And so you just have accounted for, like, it's not like that 25 cents that quarter is taken directly from the cash register to the magical donation place to the starving child or whatever. It's like it gets all mixed in, and then they take that cut of their revenue, and then they give that portion. So technically speaking, they are giving their own money, quote unquote. It's just that they're convincing the customer to, and then the customer's trusting them to take that portion and donate it or whatever. So but you're basically asserting that it would be so much good if they took their money and then did a matching program. That would be a more moral thing than just organizing an avenue for people to donate,
Well, I
small
think
bits of
it's-
money to make a difference.
No. I think them advertising that they helped donate a certain dollar amount to charity when it wasn't anything that they did other than a simple ask.
Right.
And
Well, no, not necessarily, because they have to set up the avenue through which they don't. I'm sure there's some legal loopholes that they have to go through. It's not just like one manager can say, "Hey, just start asking people if they want to round up, and then we'll figure out where to put it." You know, it's like
Well, sure.
they have to go through a very and maybe not rigorous. I don't want to be dramatic, but they have to go through a process in order to get it to get that.
Well, I would assume it's just as, I mean, it's as simple as adding a SKU to your inventory list and pressing that button on the cash register and knowing how much money additional is taken from the
Well,
customer.
it might
And
be
then they
it
take
might be that
total at the end of the day and then debit it out of their accounting balance and then, credit it off um, into the donation side of their balance sheet.
So I disagree that it's that simple, because while it's possible that they could just do that, we also both know that there's a lot of like unseen consequences of doing things incorrectly that they have to pay attention to. So I'm sure that there's a lot of paper trailing and filing that they have to do. Not necessarily like you could own a store and just start collecting donations, but you might get fucked by the IRS if you don't do it right. So it's not just like the act of adding the SKU and then training your people to ask, and then having the flyers and stuff about the organization that you're donating to so that somebody can read about it, and then all the stuff that goes into it. It's like they have more on top of kind of what I just laid out. So I just think you're minimizing
Sure.
the effort that a business has to go through in order to start accepting things, even if their effort is minimum once the money starts rolling in. It's like top heavy or front loaded. I think that's the word that you would use.
Sure.
So what say you?
Is that a question?
Yeah. Well, just what do you think about that?
I'm gonna be honest. I dozed out for the last 30 seconds.
Great, that's fine. I'll make it more succinct.
I was sorry. I was scrolling on pages and I was trying to read and listen at the same time.
Great.
And my IQ is 5.
Great.
So,
Okay. So I won then. Sounds good. Well, so no, I'm joking. I basically said that your issue, I think I can more succinctly define it, is that you agree that it's top loaded effort, but it's not effort throughout the donation process, and you think that it feels wrong for a business to say that they've donated to charity when they've quote unquote just asked lol W. So what I was trying to demonstrate is that the just asking part is a lot more than I think just ask forehead is,
From a bottom line standpoint, yes, it's more than that. But from like a big aerial perspective, it's the smallest fucking like hurdle that they have to jump over.
Okay.
It's like the first
So
line,
what if there was some penalty for wait, no, that's not where I want to go down. What if they just no, I'm sorry, that is right. What if there was a penalty for just asking lil W, and then businesses just never gave to charity? Would we be better off then? Would we be better off that way? So the penalty being they can't, you're not, that we create some hypothetical ruling where you're not allowed to just say that you're donating by collecting, the top half of $1 from your customers. You have to match. Only matched donations from corporations are allowed. Like, and would you okay, I guess the first question is, do you think that businesses would continue to do that, or do you think that we would see a reduction in charitable contributions?
I'm thinking, by the way.
Mhm.
Um. My brain isn't very strong right now.
Okay.
Um. I
Idea. So it's a simple like yes or no. Would you find it reasonable that businesses would stop giving contributions out of the goodness of their heart if they had to match?
One more time.
Would you find it reasonable that in a hypothetical situations where businesses couldn't do this practice that you're taking issue with, right? The accepting money from customers and then, giving it to an organization and saying they're donating, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Would you find it reasonable that if for some reason that was outlawed, that then businesses would just stop donating to charity?
Do I think they would stop donating? To
Correct.
charity?
Correct. Would charitable contributions decrease if they couldn't do this method? I'm trying to walk you into a trap, just so you know.
I see that, but I guess I don't.
I guess maybe the better question is, what is the incentive for a business to give to charity? Clout.
Tax deduction, clout, using other people for their. What?
I play my trap card. Why does a tax deduction? What does that do for a business?
Increases their expenses.
So you are asserting that if I make $60,000 a year and I give $10,000 in charity, then
You're only taxed on $50,000 of your income.
but I give the money away. So why would that? Like I'm $10,000 poorer because of a charitable donation. So I no longer have that money anymore. Even if I made $60,000, it's not like I'm keeping $60,000 but only getting taxed for $50,000. I'm getting taxed for $50,000 because that's how much I. So it's like you're not getting taxed for giving away your money. It's like the government is saying, this money is no longer yours because you donated it to charity. It's not like and so then if we stick with the $60,000 thing, like you would get a 20% tax hike on that, which I think is what, $8,000. So either it's give $10,000 away and only have to pay taxes on $50,000, or keep your $60,000 and only have to, pay the $8,000 or whatever. So you're if you're trying to scheme and get money through charitable contributions, you're wasting your time. Is the point that I was trying to make. And that was the whole point of this dumb fucks TikTok, is that somehow businesses are scheming people through tax deductions by donating to charity. When that's not the reason that people donate to charity most of the time. Or ever.
Well,
I would say ever.
If it's other people's money, then they didn't collect it as revenue.
Right, but
So
you don't get to
money so they still made $50,000. Let's just say we'll keep this 50-60 thing going.
Mhm.
They still made $50,000, but they brought in that $10,000 from people.
Yep.
I'm sorry. So they made $60,000, but the $10,000 they collected from people, they are able to use as a deduction. So then instead of being taxed on $60,000,
Holy
they're
shit.
taxed on $50,000.
What
What?
the fuck, Fleeb? Just coming in here, busting that load on my face. I'm sorry. We're right in the middle of a debate,
Lord.
but I had to acknowledge you, my friend. Esky Trues. What's good, buddy? No, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. It's if
How do you
you
know?
because there's I mean, I've read up on charitable donations before this, but the way that it
Very
works
true.
is you do not get to claim your income, and like you don't get to claim more or less than you contributed to charity. So there's no way for you to it's not like they're making the extra $10,000. It's they're collecting that and handing it to the charity that they're getting. So they're not getting a tax thing from it. They're
How
not
do you know?
because that's how charitable contributions work. Okay,
What do you
I-
mean?
I have a
You-
I have a scene
if
for this.
if you donate money to charity, like
We're
you
gonna draw it out.
personally, if you donate it,
Mhm.
then you can deduct it off your taxes. Like if you want to do it just out of the kindness of your heart, no clout, no whatever. Like you just legitimately want to give back.
Right. I
You're
don't
able to claim that on
I
your
don't get
taxes,
to claim
as long as it's
more.
$250 or more.
I don't get to claim more than I donated already, and I'm already out that money.
Correct.
So there
So if I gave you $100 because you asked me to donate $100 to charity, then potentially that $100 is now in your hands, and you can now donate that $100 to charity and say that it came from you instead of me.
we have a $100 bill. It can either
Uh-huh.
go from $100 bill to pocket or $100 bill to charity.
Except it goes $100 bill to Esky to charity. Is what I'm
Right.
saying.
So yeah. So okay. So in that year, I made $59,900. Okay, in my income. You give me the $100 bill.
Mhm.
It goes from my and you give it to me with the legal implication that I have to give this to charity. Okay, where it is complicated because we're including a third party, but the same principle applies. It goes to my pocket, and then I give it to charity.
Uh-huh.
So now I have $60,000 that I've quote unquote made that year, except I haven't, because that $100 that I quote unquote made went out of my pocket again to charity. So I've really still made the $59,900.
Except I think people are skipping that step, where they're adding the $100 from your 59.9 to the 60,000. But what they're doing is they're just saying, "Oh, I didn't actually make 59.9. I made 59.8."
That would be tax fraud on a scale never seen before, and I don't
Oh.
believe that's how it works.
I think people do it all the time.
Maybe average Joes, but like these giant C corporations that, you know, have their eyes on them all the time and have PR to worry about and all that stuff, you think that they're gonna try and play fast and loose with the tax code?
I mean, you hear about it all the time on the news. People trying all kinds of sleazy shit.
People,
I-
but not
obviously.
companies with shareholders where they have a fiduciary responsibility to blah blah blah.
I mean, what about like 2008, 2009 when the housing market collapsed? Like that, fucking is fraud. Has fraud written all over it.
Sure,
That was
but
one of the biggest frauds of history.
right, and people don't really care about it anymore. So the point that I'm making is that it would be wrong to do both. It would be wrong to do
I
the
mean,
circumstances.
I'm sure. I think your dad cared about it. I'm sure, like
No, most people.
his life was.
I cared about it.
severely-
My living was fucked up because of 2008.
Exactly.
But I'm not
whole
saying it
world.
doesn't matter. I'm just saying that I don't think people
You
give a
did,
shit.
though.
No,
You just
what
said-
I said was people don't care anymore.
I mean, I think people totally care. It could have like.
When I say
instead of
people,
being at-
I mean
instead of
most
being at
people.
5x right now, they could be at 8x or 12x.
Sure, and
Or
there's
15x.
retirement accounts that got fucked, and there was the TARP, but then the TARP didn't give enough, and blah blah blah. We're getting distracted from what the point that we were trying to walk down, and I'm trying to
Fair enough.
understand it a little
Yeah.
better too.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think that 2008 was horrible.
I'm prodding at the wrong thing.
No. And I was saying I don't think people care anymore because people would definitely care if somebody was fucking with charitable contributions and pocketing that. So like what you're asserting is that all of these companies are being fraudulent in their thing, which is different than it's just a shitty thing to do to claim that you're donating when you're taking from people. So
Well, I don't know. Sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure do you think that they're being fraudulent or do you think that it's just shitty?
I don't even know if it's fraudulent.
No, it would be considered fraud to use a charitable
Somebody
donation.
else's donation on behalf of yourself.
Yes, well, no,
it, though?
you give to Target to give to donation. You're allowed to claim that.
Huh?
Target gives to donation. They're also allowed to claim that. But
If you're
again,
only claiming 35 cents, then you can't deduct that off the taxes.
sure, that's fine. I mean, give more to the charity.
Yeah.
Give directly to the charity. But what
No,
again?
okay.
What you're going back to the thought that charitable contributions are some sort of tax break that it like saves you money or something.
Well, it does.
It no. I don't know how else to explain it. You
No, so I understand what you're saying. So, but except what you're doing right now, or what you're doing in your picture. Excuse me. In your picture before, what you were doing is that you were counting that $100 that I gave you as revenue. Like
let's
incoming money doesn't always have to be revenue, or counted as revenue. They can get that as a different category potentially, and then after you debit that money into your account balance or whatever, then you credit it back out under.
But you're giving the money away. It's not like you're keeping the money, but saying that you're giving it away or something. Unless you're being fraudulent. I make my paycheck. Here, follow me for a second.
Okay.
I make my paycheck.
Yep.
Paycheck. Cool. So I have all of this money. I'm so happy. Wow, look at me with all this money that I got from my check. Amazing. I decide to take one money, and instead of it going to things like food or living, I give it to a homeless guy.
Okay.
No home.
I'm missing something on your screen, by the way.
Oh, it's
I think.
these are really high quality drawings that we need to be paying attention to.
Yeah. I only see a portion of it. Okay.
I'm fixing it. Hang on.
There you go.
Okay, so you've got the paycheck. You've got all this money. You give one money to the guy with no home. So it could have gone here or it could have gone here, but it went here, that one money. Okay? So on my taxes, here's how much money I made, government. Oh, by the way, I gave one money to this person. So out of my total money, we're now at the bank here, right? And they've got a tally. It shows -1 money for the thing that went to the homeless dude. Okay? So I'm missing this. I no longer own this anyway. On my taxes, they get to say that this one money does not get taxed. Not all of this doesn't get taxed. This one money. The reason that you get to write off charitable donations is because the government doesn't want to tax you for giving charitable contributions. Because that would be dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
So people use the term write-off as like something that allows them to like not have to pay taxes for stuff. But in this particular instance, this certain write-off has to do with money that you've given directly. So all it's doing is zeroing out the money that you've given to charity. So you can't take this one money and then apply it to other stuff, and then suddenly we get taxed for two less monies. It's just off of the one money that we gave. What say you to that? Does that make sense? So this idea that it's a tax write-off, if I give to charity and it's like a profitable thing, because let's go the other route. I don't give the money, and I get taxed on everything that I have. I keep that one money. I get taxed for the amount of money that I still have that I didn't give to charity. So sure, I may get taxed a little bit more, but I also still have that little bit more of money. So we have two bar graphs that are for taxes in situation 1 and situation 2. You can't see the drawings anymore. And the bar graph has how much I made and how much I was taxed. And this one has how much I was made. Oh, there's that one money. I don't have that much anymore. And then there's how much I was taxed. Oh, wow. If you look here, there's a little bit missing from how much I didn't make. So the total here and the total here is still the same. It's just that, and one thing I didn't give to charity, and I got taxed for all the income I had, and the other one I did give to charity, and I got taxed for all of the money that I didn't give to charity. There's no way for me to like give more money to charity so that I have to pay less in taxes.
I have a question.
Answer.
If you go and cut your grandma's grass,
Yep.
and she hands you $10 of cash,
Mm-hmm.
do you count that as revenue on your taxes?
You should. Anything totaling over like $250, I think. Do I? Me personally? In a video game, fuck no.
How many people don't in this world?
Well, I'm sure a lot of individuals don't.
Uh-huh.
And if the IRS comes to get them, they're fucked. But a lot of individuals don't have shareholders that they're legally responsible for taking care of their money for. Big companies like Panda or Target or blah, blah, blah have a lot of responsibility and a lot of eyeballs, all making sure that they are... I'm not talking about like individual bankers doing shitty shit in 2008. I'm talking about like companies that have very stringent, processes that they have to go through, and, sets of eyes that they can sue them if they do something illegal. And so not just getting in trouble for doing the illegal thing, but also having your own money fucked because, of illegal schemes and stuff. There's a lot of incentives for corporations to do what's on the books. And I would say that 99.9% of corporations do what's on the books. It might be fucked what's on the books sometimes. They probably should have to give more in contributions. But charitable donations are not part of the problem because they're not using it as a thing that like saves them money somehow. It just doesn't work like that. And I hope that my stickmen have demonstrated that. So when this dumb fuck in this stupid TikTok is like, actually, I'm not going to help you engage in giving less in taxes, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Well, I still disagree.
Okay, so please find the hole in my logic. And I'm not talking about the holes in my drawings because they're very bad.
No. So go ahead and open the little image that I sent you in our private message on Discord.
Ooh, look, $10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, there's 10 $1 bills there. We in there, boys. We split 10 into 10. I'm sorry. Please tell me. Please tell me. I'm very intrigued.
Okay. All right. So, Um, let's say you're in the middle,
'Kay.
and you are a streamer named Esky,
Yeah.
and you're collecting money from your viewers to donate to charity because you want to raise awareness to breast cancer this month.
Great.
Because it's October, yay.
Yep.
Okay, boobies. Okay.
'Kay.
So, said people, one of those people is Two Black Socks, and Synchrono, and Fleeb, and Snowbot.
Yep.
Shout out everybody. Yeah. Gang.
Gang.
All right. So you got 10 people to donate $10 to Esky.
Okay. Yes.
That money doesn't go to you as revenue, right? And I'm not gonna go and deduct that dollar off of my taxes for donating to charity because that's $1,
Okay.
right? I'm not gonna do that. That's kind of a waste.
Okay.
But you got 10 people to donate $1, and let's just like upscale that a little bit, and let's just say it was $10, and you got $100 from everybody, right?
Okay.
So you donated $100 to breast cancer awareness,
Okay.
and you're thinking, at the end of the year, right? So let's just say at the end of the year, you look back and you're like, hey, remember that time I donated $100 to charity?
Mm-hmm.
I think I can deduct that off my taxes because you forgot how you got that $100, right?
Sure.
Okay. I
Wait,
don't
but
think-
but we've already broken the law there. If we
I
didn't
know, 'cause
actually,
we forgot.
if we didn't
Yeah.
give it,
Bad logic. Okay.
if we didn't give it to charity, then that would be fraudulent.
Okay. Sure, but still, he said gang.
Yeah.
No.
I'm drawing people for all these $1 that I got, and then we're gonna scale it out again. Okay.
I like that.
So
That's
keep
great.
talking, because I don't understand your point yet. So if I broke the law and I said, oh, I get to write this off, even though I didn't
don't
give
think
it
it's breaking the law though.
to not give money to charity and to say I
Oh,
gave
no,
a
no.
charitable
No.
contribution.
No, you
That is
did
illegal.
Give the money to charity. You did give the money to charity, but I'm saying that you're choosing to write that $100 off on your taxes on your income. So then instead of you making
But it doesn't. It
$200 from streaming, you told the government that you only made $100 from streaming.
okay, but you'd still be breaking the law if you didn't claim that you received that $100 in charitable donations from elsewhere and then you donated that.
I don't think that's entirely true though.
You have to claim charitable donations. You can't fake a charitable donation. You get fucked for that. Just like
But
you
you're
can't.
You're not faking it. You gave them the money. You gave the $100 to breast cancer awareness,
Yeah.
and you signed you deposited the $10, or $100, however much we're talking about, into your bank account,
Mhm.
and then you signed a check,
Correct.
and you wrote it out to whoever.
Okay.
But you didn't. I'm saying the gray part of the gray area is that do you have to originally count that $100 added up into your income, or does that $100 come out of your actual income that you made?
Well, in order for you to make a charitable contribution deduction on your taxes, it removes that. I'm pretty sure that, like, even if you facilitated getting the money, you still received it. So that would have to be claimed as income on your taxes. And then you would have to then say that this income was given to charity. So this extra $100 that I quote unquote made, because any money that you receive has to be reported to the IRS, right? Doesn't matter if you received it for a charity or not. You still have to claim that you received that money, because the flip side of that would be you don't say where you got the money from, and then you just donated money out of your own pocket, which it wouldn't matter either way. but you'd be kind of fucked.
But if you didn't work for money, and money was just given to you, you don't.
I'm
have
against
to-
that dumb fuck TikTok synchro. That
You-
piece of shit is so stupid.
You don't have to pay taxes on money that is just given to you.
I mean, it's earned income. Whether you gave a blowjob or you winked at somebody or they tipped you for driving their car, any money that you receive is technically income and has to be reported to the IRS. A lot of people don't keep very strict books, and if everyone in the world got, audited, we'd all be fucked for a couple $1,000 probably over the last 5 years. But technically speaking, any money that you receive for whatever is income, and you have to pay taxes on that. Except there's exceptions, but the majority of things that you're talking about are going to be viewed as tips or non-reported income. So you're still adding that to your total of income if you're following the law. It's been given away, so you're being given a break on the amount that you gave away. Nothing more, nothing less. And the whole reason behind that is so that you don't get taxed for giving to charity, because that's a stupid thing. Also, what I was trying to say is that these people here, if they had $100 and they gave me $1, they gave $1 to charity. So out of all of the money that they made from their job, whatever they did, they get to deduct $1 from their taxes. So they don't have to pay taxes on that $1.
Well, if they only did $1, they technically legally can't.
Yes, that's fine. So they're just stupid for giving it away. Well, no, I think you can. I just think it's less. It makes less sense in the tax code for you to tally up your $5 or whatever and not take the standard deduction. Because
Oh, no, you actually can't unless it's more than $250.
so if I gave 249 $1 contributions, I wouldn't be able to claim that as a charitable donation.
Correct.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm a dumb fuck for giving my money away for no reason then.
No. You did it out of the kindness of your heart. Remember?
Well, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not. I don't necessarily disagree that people should give to charity and stuff, but there's no I'm looking at this from a purely practical, cold-blooded perspective, because that's what corporations are. And when somebody talks about them receiving money from people to give to charity as a way to game the tax code, it is not based in reality. They're not getting a tax break on anything but the money that they've donated. It just doesn't work like that. So I've been trying to demonstrate that, but I just have to. I guess taxes are hard. I don't know. Do you see what my perspective is? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm trying to find the loophole. Like,
There is no loophole. That's the thing.
there is.
No,
There is.
there's a feeling among people on Twitter and online who are fucking retarded. Not you, but
Whoa.
people are so dumb.
No.
People are dumb on Twitter and they don't know what they're talking about. And there's this like common misconception behind dumb people who think that you're able to like make more money and contribute less to society by giving to charity somehow. But that's just not how it works. There's no loophole that's legal. If it's illegal, then of course it's wrong. And it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense for the way that the government structures tax code. Because everything is written, the laws are written in the eyes of people who want to continue to make money, and we want to incentivize things that help out society while also making sure that people can make money. That's why charitable contributions aren't mandatory. You get to choose to do that, and there's no penalty for you doing it.
I mean, there are ways to not evade, but take advantage of the.
Sure. Charitable contributions is not an avenue to do that, though.
Well, you can, because charitable contributions doesn't always have to be money. And if I provide a service, I can determine how much money that service is, and whether or not that's true is kind of up to me, not up to the IRS to determine that.
Yeah,
value.
but you'd have to justify it, right? So you're always like, if you're doing
mean,
something sketchy.
You can do all kinds of shit that's justified.
But
I
then
mean-
again, if you're at that place where your services are considered instead of money, I would hope that you're like you're good enough on your financial situation to understand what your time is worth and everything. Like let's say I provide a function. I have, in order for that to be a tax break, there has to be a dollar amount attached to it. Even if I didn't physically give that money, there has to be some justifiable dollar amount, right? In order for me to receive the break on the money money substituted for time that I spent on this charitable contribution.
No, yeah, I know, but like that's what I mean is that is it's so subjective that
I don't even know if
it's
this
not,
is true,
it's not
to be
necessarily
honest.
finite. What?
Are charitable services a thing? What can you give me an example of a service that you would be able to deduct from your taxes that is not a direct financial contribution?
I will do a real world example.
Great.
Okay.
Excellent.
One that I could potentially do.
Great.
For me.
Yeah.
For me to donate. I could do a photo shoot for at a breast cancer awareness gathering.
Yep.
Right? And I could say that them hiring me would have costed me money, or would have costed money,
Mhm.
but I decided to donate my time and my services to do photo shoots there for them for free.
'Kay.
And I could attach a dollar amount to my time and what that photo shoot would have costed if I don't know who this is. Hello, Graper MA. Yeah, so I can attach a dollar value to that service.
Okay. Would you-
Sorry, go ahead.
Would you have to justify that dollar amount? Or could you just make up whatever you want? Oh, you want me to take some photos? Great. That would cost $100,000. Like, would that fly?
100,000 wouldn't fly, but like, who's to say the difference between $1,000 and $5,000 in a single day?
Well, that's Sonic committing tax fraud right there.
Well, I mean, who's to say that?
Or
I'm wrong?
Yoshi. It's Yoshi committing tax fraud, not Sonic.
Uh,
There would be some way for you to justify how much your time is worth. If you're in the services business and you're not providing things, you're in services, there is a paper trail that determines, how much your time is worth. You have to justify that somehow. Because so if you were to fudge that, you're breaking the law. And I'm still right.
Well, let's say I've never done an event service before, but I do all kinds of other services like real estate photography, for instance. Like I actually do,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I can still attach a dollar amount to me at a full day doing a photo shoot,
Right.
Or,
And so
a
the-
300-person gathering. Like
Yeah.
there's a very unique service that may not come along more than once a year for me.
Sure. But you, as a
I don't
smart,
get paid by the hour. I get paid by the service that I'm providing.
correct, but you as the smart businessman who wants to stay out of jail and not get fined ought to have a way of quantifying that service, not just a number pulled out of your ass. Because if you don't have a number to pull it out of your ass and you do get audited, because that's the whole thing that I'm focusing on, is you are going to get audited. You have to assume that everything you're doing is going to get you audited. And if you don't have any justification for it, thank you. Give us that money back, please.
Well, I guess what I'm saying though is that there's no, like I said before, there's the subjective part comes back to there's I don't know, man. Like, it's kind of like whenever you buy a $50 item at Walmart and you ended up finding something on Amazon for $25. It's the
Okay.
same, like, it's the same product, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're listed at two different values. It's not like the IRS. It's not like the government is gonna tell the person that's selling for $50 that they can't sell it at $50 anymore.
No, but the market would find out about that eventually, and then nobody would be buying your $50 thing, and you'd have to lower the price because your market would shrink. So like,
Well, it depends.
no, I
That's not always true, because you could argue, Walmart could argue that, oh well, we have it retail in stock and you can get it today. That's why it's $50 versus you getting it on your Amazon Prime in 2 days from now at $25. So we upcharge for that.
right, but does that? I, so then
It's the
then
same-
it's
you're still
then you're
getting the
paying.
same product,
Well, but
right?
you're not
It's just an
necessarily.
it's
You're
an additional cost to the retailer that's selling the product.
but you're
And they're
paying
just
for the
selling it for more to make up for the margin.
because your money isn't necessarily going to the object at that point. It's going towards the object plus the time and convenience. So that's how justifications happen. So if you are a smart like hustler and you find that, hey, wait, I can get these products at $25 and then I can sell them at this amount and people are buying them at this amount, then you'd set up your own store and you'd sell them for, whatever you're matching it to. And that's not illegal. It's not illegal to buy and sell things unless it's not for individual resale, which, is breaking the law. But this whole thing is about assuming that you are going to get audited and you have to justify everything. That's my biggest contention is that corporations are not doing some game that is saving them money off of their thing, blah blah blah. So you brought up the services as a way where they could possibly game it, and I think that it has to be justified. Otherwise they get fucked and then the IRS asks for the money back. And so you're trying to introduce that, well, things could be justified in different ways, but there's still a way to justify it. It's not like just somebody pulling it out of their ass still. I talked a lot. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I want to reel this in a little bit just because I feel like we're out in the weeds.
Yeah.
The-
I mean, that's not that. Obviously, that wasn't like the main.
Yeah, that was just a side thing. But
Yeah.
I want to make sure we're on the same page. So the TikToker, was he right or wrong in his characterization of the situation?
Of the situation.
Was he factual? Was he factual? Was he good faith in his representation of how? Did he have a good understanding and was interpreting that? Or was he wrong in his understanding?
I'm still struggling.
Might it be that you are ideologically opposed to corporations as a whole and you don't want to give me this W? Is that possible?
Give you the W.
You don't want to give me this.
Well, you haven't provided any factual information that what they're doing, like that they aren't allowed to do something like this.
Wait, but you haven't demonstrated what they would be doing that would not be illegal. That would then be
taking the dollar amount that they collect, like that jar, and not counting it as revenue, but then deducting it off of their expenses because they counted it as a donation on behalf of themselves.
Yeah, but it's not like they're pocketing the money.
Correct? They're not pocketing it. I mean, that's kind of exactly what I mean. They're not pocketing it, but they're counting it as their own expense.
Right, but it's a specific kind of expense.
They could potentially justify that their campaign costed money to put together.
And I'm sure that would be real. I'm sure that would be a thing that they would say that there was money and time and effort that went into it. And if they were lying about that, then that would be fraud.
So that's why that might be the loophole right there, is that they spent time putting together the campaign, adding the button on the register, adding all the time that it takes to train their bottom line employees how to ask to, round up to the next dollar or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they could see that as a service that they're donating, and they quantify that by the amount of money that they end up getting from their customers, and then donating that money to charity.
Do you think that that amount of money that they are quantifying is wrong? Not morally wrong. Do you think that that is incorrect? Do you think that they're lying about that? Do you think that they're misrepresenting things?
No.
Okay, so then
I think that
why
the
is that a
25
problem?
cents why is it a problem?
Yeah, why is it a problem for them to invest their time, i.e., money that could be made elsewhere, but they're investing resources into it? So it translates to a dollar amount that they claim as a charitable contribution.
Hang on. Let me-
If we have a bucket of time, if we have a bucket of we could say resources. Okay? And we have a choice. We can invest in marketing, we can invest in training new employees, we can invest in market research. There's a billion things that we could do. And we take some of that bucket of resources and we dump that into charitable contributions. We still are out that amount of resources, right? The bucket is less full than it was when you dump some of those resources into something. Whether or not it is a piece of green paper that has George Washington's face on it, I think it's still a...
So I think you're undervaluing. I think you are underestimating how much money is actually collected from this small contribution.
Yeah, isn't it like
So-
$4 million a month or something that Target did for their Step Up campaign or some shit? And then if it's
Why?
$4 million going to charity,
I thought that.
yeah,
So let me just read
sure.
an article straight from Roundup, which is like the company that kind of created this little movement.
Yeah, they are with Taco
Roundup
Bell
for
right now.
Charity
Yep.
is what they're called. Well, yeah, they're with a whole bunch of companies. So, in 2017, America's Charity Checkout Champions is what they call this
Okay.
little campaign thing.
Yep.
And all these different companies had their own campaigns.
Okay.
So they ran a total of 73 campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
or ran 73 campaigns with 73 different businesses, 73 different companies. And they raised a total in 2016, $441.6 million. So the top 5 campaigns of 2016, number 1 was 56.58 million from eBay. Walmart had 37 million. Petco had 28 million. McDonald's has 28 million, and Costco had 22 million.
Okay.
So
That's
all the-
awesome.
that's the pennies and stuff that are gathered from, millions of customers.
A lot of money going to charity.
Over and over. Yeah, sure. That's a great thing. So I'm not saying that the donation to charity is. I guess we already know that. So we already know that donating to charity is a good thing. And we already think that, or I think we all assume that companies donating money to charity is a good thing.
Yep.
But I still think that they are somehow taking the money that that these people are donating and taking it off their taxes. Like I think that what they can do
Wait,
legally,
they are taking it off their taxes.
yes,
But it's the
So-
money that they're giving to charity that they're taking off of their taxes.
well, exactly. So their value. So by them saying they're gonna partner up with Roundup,
Mhm.
and they're gonna put this extra. They're gonna put in these hours of work from our PR, from our marketing managers.
Yep.
our
Blah blah blah. All the
media-
resources that they're spending on it,
Yeah,
and then the actual
yeah.
physical contributions that they give totals some amount that is being given to charity. Or I'm sorry, it totals the amount. Some of it is being given to charity. Some of it actually wasn't given to charity. It's just a dumping of resources, right? So that might be where your issue is.
Yes. So yeah, sure, the companies are spending money on the hours. They're
Uh-huh.
spending money on actual physical papers, right?
Sure.
And cardboard cutouts, like actual
Yeah,
things,
and
right?
training and labor hours and
Yeah,
marketing and everything, and yeah.
yeah, right. And what they're doing is they're taking those services and those expenses, and I, in my opinion, they're saying that that's a charitable contribution, and they're allowed to take the money that is collected from all of their customers, and they're allowed to take that. For instance, eBay $56.58 million, and they're able to say we donated, we eBay donated $56.58 million on our behalf
Correct.
to charities.
Yeah. So why is that wrong? Because let me re-explain that to you. They
Well,
collected, you said it was 56 mil or something. So they collected $55.5 million in physical dollars.
okay,
And then they said that it cost $500,000 for the company to run this campaign.
sure.
Why is that wrong for them to deduct that portion from their taxes if it is a part of the charitable contribution? Because the charitable contribution, I don't even know if this is true, if you're allowed to claim you know, services along with physical money given. But if it has to go with the facilitation of the money that you give, you can't just make that up. It's not like this $500,000 is coming from nowhere. It's coming from resources that the company could have put elsewhere to make them more money. So it's not some infinite like money glitch where they get to say that they paid more than they did, or if they do that, they're breaking the law.
I don't think it's breaking the law because what they're doing is
If they get
they're
audited
able-
for it, they have to justify it. That's how it works. So
But I just told you the justification, though. The justification that they might be.
well, then they're not
playing,
breaking the law, and then it's fine.
Again, that's what I think is wrong.
You think it's wrong that a you think it's wrong that a company investing resources in order to give money to charity gets to claim the resources as well as the charitable contribution.
Sorry, I'm trying to make a.
Sure. Because I'm going to try it a different way. If they have 100% of the bucket that's full, okay, and then they make this campaign and all of the effort takes them down to 98% of their resources. That 2% that they spent on the campaign itself is resources spent. They could have put it elsewhere, but they put it towards the charitable contribution. So they no longer have those resources anymore. So it's not like they could just create more resources to then get a tax break from the rest of their stuff. Because if they were to do that, then that would be fraud. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Is the difference between it's like what the implication sounds like that you're making is, well, they can just say whatever, and then they get to write that off as part of the charitable contribution, even though they didn't physically give that portion of money. They just get to write it off, and then they get a tax break that way. And what I'm telling you is that if there's no way for them to justify the amount that they're writing off as services due to charitable contributions because of a campaign they run, then they're breaking the law, and they're going to get fucked for it. You're drawing something as I'm talking, so I'd like to see it. I would like to see it. Do you understand what I just said? This isn't some, and so all of this to say that there is no like if we say that we made $60,000 and services and money given to charity equal $10,000, and we get to claim that we made $50,000 that year because $10,000 went to charity. You're implying that $5,000 is tax free. But I'm sorry. Oh wait. So let's make this in writing. Okay. I'm onto something here because I've tried to explain this in different ways. So my dollar amount is 60K. I give 10K. But really what that 10K is $8,000 of money and then $2,000 of services. Okay. So this can be traced. Did I actually give that money? Yes. Okay, here's that $8,000 back. This is more complicated because it's a service about the charitable contribution. So in reality, I still have $52,000 left. But I'm saying that I only made $50,000 because this $2K is coming out as another charitable contribution with the other $8K. So it looks like, holy shit, you just got $2,000 tax-free because you claim those services as a charitable contribution. There's the problem. I understand what you're saying. But you have to justify the $2,000 that wasn't given in physical money. Otherwise, when you get audited, you owe that money back. It's fraudulent. The money that you get to claim as a service has to be justifiable. You have to be able to say and show, you have to be able to demonstrate how that money, or like where that money came from. Otherwise, you're committing fraud.
Mm-hmm.
So, quote unquote, $2,000 was tax free, but not really because of the resources that I am justifying it with so that I'm not committing fraud. Otherwise, I'm committing fraud.
Okay, so
Yeah.
open up the thing I just sent you.
Yeah.
Quick.
Income
I'll show you how-
expects.
Yeah. So I'll show you how, or explain to you real quick how I am
Yes.
thinking about it.
Okay.
So this is eBay that we were just talking about. Okay. So let's just say that eBay had a income of $100 million, right, before any kind of charitable stuff, right? And typically, right, if eBay did not participate in said Roundup charitable campaign, right?
'Kay.
If they didn't, they would have to pay 25% on that money.
Okay.
And this isn't actually correct because they actually pay only on their profits, not their income.
Exactly.
So,
You don't get taxed
anyway.
on losses and stuff. Right.
Yeah. So this is their number. Imagine this is their number after their expenses,
Okay.
or after their current expenses, right?
'Kay.
So originally they would be paying $25 million
In taxes.
In taxes.
Yes.
Okay. So what they decided to do is start this Roundup campaign. Okay.
Yep.
And they're going to spend $500,000, $500K,
Mm-hmm.
on their marketing campaign.
Yep.
To run this charity.
Okay.
And what they're going to do is they're going to ask people for every transaction, would you like to round up
Yeah.
and donate to Children's Hospital
Yep.
or whatever.
So
Or,
let me stop
Roundup
real quick.
Foundations.
This $5 million we're viewing as a legitimate justification for the money that they're spending.
Yes.
this is-
legitimate, like
Even there might be dollar receipts or it might be time spent that they've calculated based on how much they pay their employees and stuff to spend the time on it. This is
Yeah.
a dollar amount that's real. Okay.
that's
Great.
like creating the buttons on eBay.
Yeah.
That's
So
like,
$500,000 is what they spent getting the campaign. Got it.
Exactly. And they raise $56 million
Okay.
of people's money, of people's 39 cents here and there, or
Mhm.
40 cents here and there.
Sure. Sure.
Right. Because they have a shit ton of transactions on their website.
Okay.
Right? So what I'm saying they can do, because it's a charitable contribution, right? They spent $500K on the marketing campaign, right?
Okay.
So that's actually out of their pocket. So then technically, their income would then go down from 100 million down to 99.5 million,
Great.
right? Now because they participated in this and then they donated the 56 million that was collected from everybody, they're able to take off another 56 million.
So that's where you're wrong. They don't
That's
get to
where I-
subtract the 56 million. They add the 56 million to their 100 million.
I don't think they do though.
Yes, because they received that money, so it's added as income.
But
on
it's
all
not
the-
going in their pockets.
It is, but then it's going back out as a charitable contribution.
But I don't think it's. I don't think that's correct.
What you're insinuating is that they made $100 million. Okay, that was
Uh-huh.
still a thing,
Uh-huh.
and then they collected $56 million in donations, but then they get to say that they only made $44 million, and that's
Correct.
not how it works.
I think it is. How it
That,
works.
no, that you're wrong, because that would be taking out from their income, not taking out from their contribution.
What do you mean take out from their contribution?
The money that you get to claim as a charitable donation is the contribution itself. So
Uh-huh.
so
They contributed 56 million because
Correct.
they ran the marketing campaign.
but their money that they made that year was $156 million. The money that they handled, that they received, that was on paper, that they had to divvy out somehow, was $156 million.
But they didn't sell any. They didn't sell anything to earn that.
We
56
talked about
million.
this, though. If you give a blowjob, if you walk somebody across the street, if you pick up a $10 bill, you still have to claim that as income. Or you can claim it as a charitable donation if you give it away. But the U.S. tax law says that you have to tally everything. They literally will come to you and get receipts for everything and ask you to I mean, it's so what you're laying out isn't the way that it works. Because they made $156 million if they collected $56 million in charitable contributions and then donated that somewhere else.
But I think because they are the middleman, I don't think that they do have to pay it.
But then they wouldn't get
Because
to.
it's a
They would.
charitable.
I just you're laying out fraud. That's the thing.
I don't think it is. I think because that they decided that their $500,000 that they paid for all the marketing campaign, I think that they are because they did that, they are able to mark out, or they are able to deduct whatever money they collect.
It just.
I know it sounds wrong and
It-
it sounds
Yeah.
fraudulent.
But it's not how it works. Is what I'm saying. All the reading that I did today said the exact opposite of what you're saying. It said that the revenue that they generated went up, but then they weren't taxed on that extra $56,000 because it was a charitable contribution.
Yeah, so that I hear you. I understand. So, in theory, they would add the 56 million and then take away the 56 million, and it would be considered a wash because they're just taking the money and then giving it back out, right?
Yep. This is from thebalancesmb.com, okay?
Can you move it over a little bit? Sorry.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. How do I shift a goddamn page to the right or the left? We'll do this.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Deducting business. How business types can deduct charitable contributions. All business types, except corporations, are subject to the limits on deductions effective for the 2018 tax. This is 2 years ago. I don't think this stuff changed that much. We're just assuming that 2 years ago it's the fine.
Sure, that's fine. I can agree with that.
Your business cannot make separate charitable contributions because the only way individuals can deduct these contributions is on Schedule A. That means you must be able to itemize the deductions to take them. The same is true for a single-member limited liability company, since the single-member LLC files taxes as sole proprietor. A partnership is a special case. An S corp may deduct charitable contributions limited to $250 unless the business gets a written acknowledgement from the charitable organization showing the cash contribution. A corp may make charitable contributions on its own behalf and take deductions for those contributions. The deductions are included on the corporation's income tax form. There may be limitations to deductions. There it is. The deductions are included in the corporation's income. Is that an own, or am I misreading that?
Hold on, go back up. What are you doing?
I want to find a more in-depth one, so we're gonna.
Okay.
We need some music.
Music.
If this were the case, is all I'm saying, because we're gonna quantify and find out that I'm right. But if it were the case, then we would see so much fucking money being given to charity. Because, dude, it's free money. I get to write off, 50% of my taxes, 50% of my revenue, because I donated some of it to charity. Like, and we don't see that. Consult a tax professional against you, but this is less than a debate on the academic will probably not apply. True. You might be right, Synchro. This isn't telling me what I want.
No. Because I was looking at that stuff earlier too, and I couldn't find anything. Because it's so weird. Because like, there's not. I think those are charitable contribution deductions on like individual.
Yeah.
Donators, but not on behalf of businesses.
So corporations, this is from taxpolicycenter.org. In 1935, Congress extended the right to deduct charitable contributions to corporations. Corporations may not deduct more than 10% of their pre-tax income in a given year, but like individuals, may carry forward excess donations for 5 years. Some corporate contributions, however, might also qualify as business expenses. So you're capped at 10% of whatever your donations are. I'm sorry, you're capped at 10% of your income by whatever your donations are. So you can get a maximum of 10% off of contributions. So the situation where I am Edgar, hear me roar. What the fuck did you have? You had the eBay gives, $65 million, so they get to take their revenue from 100 to 44. That's
Well, I mean,
it would be from 100 to 90 maybe.
well, I mean, I think that it's more like 10 billion down to 9.995 billion.
Okay,
More or less in that.
but it's still equivalent. It's capped at 10% of your revenue, and you have to give more than 10% of what your revenue was, or you have to give at least 10% of your revenue to justify that. So even if I grant you that the way that you structured that argument, which was I made $100 million I started something. I say that 500,000 of it goes to research and development of that thing, and then $65 million I get to deduct. I actually only get to deduct 10 million out of that. So I can't go from 100 to 43.5. I can go from 100 to 90. And that's where I'm capped at.
Fair enough.
If you're right. But either way, it's not some like loophole that is like other than just hanging on to the money and, you know, getting taxed at a lower rate than 10% or whatever. And of course, we want businesses to have a reason to donate to charity anyway. Right?
No, yeah, sure. Well, yeah, I want businesses to donate to charity. But
Okay,
I don't
wait.
want them to take my money and say that they donated on my behalf.
Well, but they did though.
I know.
Unless they
don't.
finessed you. And then you just gave them money without knowing what it was actually for.
Oh, no. I mean, like, I don't want them to say, hey, we donated 56 million when it didn't really come out of their own pockets. It actually came out of their customers' pockets. That's what I also hate.
Right, so that's where we started, was you took issue with the
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody would agree with that.
with
I
the
think.
clout chasing of corporations.
Sure. But we've been debating more or less if it's, like, legal to...
Well, and we've both assumed that it was legal. It's just our understanding of how it happens. So would you
I mean, the tax part is
Right.
what we've been debating.
would you concede that your understanding of it was a little exaggerated? Based off of what we've discovered just now? Or do you want to do some more research on it? Because I don't think that I'm wrong. I don't think that I've been wrong on this. I might have underestimated how much they can deduct, but that amount that they can deduct still has to be tangible somehow, so I don't see a problem with it.
Well, I mean, 10% is a lot,
Sure.
for
But
the record.
But again, that has to go to a charity, or resources had to be spent on a charity. Otherwise, they're breaking the law. So it's not some like lucrative business to give out your money so that you can write off 10% of your income,
Well, I'm
because
saying
you're
that
giving out
they're-
10% of your income.
The small amount that they're expensing, the 500,000. That is
Yeah, but that's not a very good return on investment for anything, is what I'm
no,
saying.
I'm not saying the return. The 500,000 that they're spending turns
Yeah.
into 10% off of their income because they donated so much money to charity through everybody else's. giving.
No. But it's not. It doesn't get to turn into that. It's capped at 10%. So you could be super rich and you could give all of this money. Oh wait, I think I understand what you're saying. So you're still not buying. Okay, you're going with your old equation still, where you made 100 mil, you collected 65, but that 65 doesn't get put on your income. That's in some separate bucket for some reason, and then you get to claim. Like let's say you get to claim 90 instead of 100.
Yes. You get taxed on 90 million instead of 100 million.
But I mean that's.
And they only expense 500,000 off their marketing campaign, but they get to take off the other 9.5 million because they donated so much money to charity through other people's money.
Sure, but that seems like a good incentive for charities to exist, no?
I don't think it's fair that eBay should be able to get, because 10% off, that would be what, 2.5 million? 2.5 million less that they have to pay in taxes to the government?
Well, yeah, it's 10%.
By
10% of their operating costs, or 10% of their revenue, or whatever.
Mhm.
So we're assuming that they made $100 revenue, and then they facilitated an experience, and they had to pay $500,000 of manpower in order to get tax credit for it. But I'm sure there's better ways that they could have spent that money that would get them a higher portion. So claiming,
I mean, that's a bad
losses
return.
and
spending 500K and then getting 10 mil off your income.
Yeah, but off your taxable income. So it's, I mean, we're talking about, it's not like they're then getting $9 million all of a sudden. They're decreasing the amount of taxable income by that $9 million.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like that's.
They still had to have the money. They still had to facilitate. I mean,
It's worth the investment. Like. That's like a 950% return, like a 950% margin that they're saving.
I can't prove you wrong that you're right because I don't have a deep enough understanding, but I don't think you can prove me wrong either. So we're basically both saying I think you're wrong right now.
Yeah, we're both pointing at each other saying, yeah, you're wrong. Yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense to me that
I mean, I would hope that I'm wrong, right? But I don't know.
because they're still giving to charity, like. So
Well, except they're actually spending $500K on charity.
right, but what we're
They're
assuming.
able to say that they gave 10 mil to charity.
Would you grant that had they not done the roundup that those charities would not be receiving the money that they're receiving? Or do you feel like that's not a fair thing to say?
I think there's different ways that they can go about it to not have the clout problem, you know.
Right, but you're not taking issue with the clout. You're now taking issue with the tax code that a $500,000 investment and then a successful charity campaign means that they shouldn't get that means that they get a tax break for it. Not just the clout. You're actually, you take issue with the on the books.
But now we're saying, is it worth it? Right?
Yeah, is the contribution to society of the 65 mil or whatever that equates to $9 million off of their personal taxes, is the good of society that is gotten from that massive campaign worth it? Of letting them, you know, because that seems like a fucking sick incentive for businesses to orchestrate lots of charitable campaigns to make sure that they don't have to pay as much in taxes. So while we're not getting money going directly to services through the company itself, to the federal government, to social services, we're getting money going to charitable organizations that are helping people out in other ways. So even though it's not coming from company A, fucking Amazon or whatever, the money is still going somewhere and it's still helping. It's moving things through society. So does it make it wrong that there's an incentive for companies with a lot of reach to get people to donate to stuff? Because if
that means they're paying less taxes on a very, very small donation.
Sure, but it wouldn't exist if they didn't do the thing itself. So I don't have the understanding of business right now to explain it 100%, but it feels like if we were to remove this incentive for the businesses that I'm just kind of granting to you right now because I don't have the knowledge to refute it, if we remove that incentive where they get to, you know, remove up to 10% of their income because of it, I don't think that the good of society, and then, I'm sorry, if we remove that incentive and then we just tax them the 10% anyway, I don't necessarily think that the good of society, they would find other ways to sink that money so that they could move not have to pay that taxes. And then on top of that, where they're concealing money in other ways, we're not getting the charitable contributions right there. So we're doubly fucked. Businesses are going to try and find ways to pay as little in taxes as they possibly can. And there's no benefit to society for them doing it other ways. But if there's a benefit to society for them to try and, you know, donate.
I don't think you could say that because, like, right now we don't know of any other alternative for them to lower their income even more.
Well,
So, like,
carry
what you
forward
don't know is-
losses,
Well,
investing
what you
in.
don't know is what you don't know. Right? So if that didn't exist, then like what you don't know is what you don't know. Or what you can't do is what you can't.
It's not a reasonable hypothesis to me that if we assume that this is a wrong thing, that the alternative would be better. We'd be better off. So I don't know exactly to a T how it would play out, but I think I can go off of how history has gone with regulation on businesses and stuff. When they introduced the what was it, the stock trading tax in Sweden, suddenly all of the investments in those particular stocks that got hit with the tax just went straight to zero. So it's like if we were to focus on charitable I'm moving now to a pragmatic argument. If we were to focus on charitable contributions and say, hey, look, this is a really, I know there's a lot of benefit that we're getting for society for them to contribute, but they're missing out on all of this revenue that needs to go to the Fed. I think I can say with some authority that they're gonna find ways to conceal that elsewhere. So we might as well get something out of it. Than
But
to just.
why should they be able to collect a deduction? Like, why can't they just run the campaign, get the $500,000, the actual money that they spent, deducted off their taxes, or even double that amount for instance?
Because then there's no
Having a marginal return.
there's no incentive for them to do that. They've got shareholders to think about.
What do you mean? They're helping their community, and when they help their community, they get this clout that they.
Yeah, and I'm sure they have arguments about, hey, listen, if we get a good name in the public, this would boost our revenue this year or something. I'm sure that's part of the discussion too.
That's the benefit.
But that's banking on the goodness of people, and there's a much easier way where we can just wave money in their face and say, hey, listen, if you can coordinate this, we'll give you a tax break. And the reason that we're giving you this tax break is because it's relieving some stress on the Fed, and these charities are helping out other people.
Except there's loopholes where people create their own charities and take the money for themselves. Donald Trump.
Well, sure, yeah, that sucks. But do you get what I'm saying though? It's like we have two choices. We give companies tax breaks for giving to charity.
To incentivize it.
To incentivize, and that's a surefire way to have them do it because charities still exist, and we know
which is less money to the government but more money to the charities.
Exactly. And then that is, if they're legal, and we're assuming that they're legal, it's helping people out.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
So that's reality one. Reality two is we have no incentive to give to charity, and we tax the fuck out of them. There's a good.
You tax them normally.
You remove the deduction from it.
Yeah, you just remove the deduction. Yeah.
And we just think that.
I do think that them promoting that they are donating to charities is good enough for customers to keep coming back and saying, yeah, we like these donations are really cool. I want to support this business because they donate their money back to charity.
Interesting.
I mean, that's a competitive advantage.
Yeah, but they're still providing a good, right, to society.
Well, sure. And then they're still even paying more money to the government, so then the government has even more money to.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, no. I was not thinking about reality 2. I was thinking about reality 1, what we're in right now. Would the world be better off if they weren't incentivized to give to charity, but there was goodness in them? I think that the way capitalism works, it's very good at creating markets. Lemon Tub. What's going on, my dude? I think that there's very good I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. This conversation is looping a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know. I still think that the TikTok is wrong. factually incorrect. I think that it's a misrepresentation of how taxes work, and people that I've read have ascribed something similar. So you're introducing something to me that feels different, that I have no way of proving wrong, but it doesn't feel right.
Well, we don't have any way of proving it like that.
Exactly. Yeah. We're both going off of our hunches and our understanding of the tax code, when we would need somebody who can break it down a little more for us. All right. Well, hey, that was a good ass 2 hours, my dude.
Was it really?
Yeah. I've been live for an hour and 57 minutes, dog.
What the hell? That was the fastest 2 hours of my life.